Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conquer the Fight of Life. I am your host, Tamika L. Herbert, and today, for this very first episode of Conquer the Fights of Life, we're going to talk about, and myself. If you don't know, Conquer the Fight of Life is my first book that I wrote that talks about hardship. Who has not experienced hardship? Anybody? Yes, that's correct. All of us have experienced hardship. The particular hardship that I will be talking about is my journey through breast cancer. And today I am going to have some guests, and I will introduce those guests to you right now. The guest today will be my lovely grandmother, whom I call DJ. My auntie, we call her Tiny, but that would be Tanetta Gaynor. And I am going to introduce you guys. This is a little scary, to my father. So, could everyone say hello? If you could say hello to the audience today.
Good evening, everyone. How are you today?
Great. Thank you so very much. If everyone would just give a little introduction more than I've already did and introduce yourselves, whatever information it is you would like for the fellow conquerors to know that are present. Start with you, DJ.
My name is Dorothy, and I don't know what else whatever you want to say. Just go to the next question.
Okay, thank you, Dorothy. Do you have anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay.
Okay. Mika, you've already introduced me as your auntie Tiny, which I don't mind everybody saying Tiny. But I'm Tanetta, and have the opportunity of having my mother here with me. We've had the opportunity of having you here with us, Tamika, and it's just been a pleasure in being able to go through this journey that you've been on with you. And
Thank you so much. I'm going to put a disclaimer and say something. Father, introduce yourself and let's keep it 30 seconds.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am the Father, Kenneth Herbert. Welcome you to this occasion, momentous occasion of my dearly beloved daughter, that who I am well pleased. Is that short enough?
Thank you. That's great. Thank you so much, Father. So, we're going to talk about something that may be a bit challenging to talk about. Some of the stuff that's going to be presented today is going to be information that I've never heard because we've not had in depth conversation in regards to my cancer diagnosis. So, I want to start out with and let everyone know October the 31st, 2013. I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 36 years young. I had just relocated to Portland, Oregon. My hometown is Panama City, Florida. So, yes, I was clear across the other side of the world. While I was going through this journey, no one knew about it. There were a few who did. As far as family is concerned, my auntie Tanetta was the only one who was privy to what was transpiring. And Auntie Tanetta, can you let them know a little bit of your background, your medical background, in regards to why I felt comfortable sharing that information with you?
sure. Well, I've done nursing for about right at 20 years, and I have a healthcare background of taking care of people from babies all the way to geriatric senior. I say seniors, I should say. But I'm very familiar with what Tamika was going through, and I think I'm the medical advocate for the entire family because anything that goes on, people will call me and ask me questions, and I try to do the best I can to answer those questions. And if I can't, I will make sure I get the correct information to them. So, yeah.
That is very true. Thank you so much. So yes, I shared that information with my auntie Tanetta so that she could share that information with everyone else. I do want to ask everyone before we get in depth in regard to my journey, what was your perception? How did you view and see Tamika before diagnosis, and especially since she had relocated clear across the other end of the world? I will start with you, Father.
Well, Tamika was a very outgoing individual, young lady, always has been. She gets it from me. I'm very outgoing. I'm the I am the one that keeps the aside from my mother, I'm the one that keeps the family together with my wittiness, my humor, my quick on my feet. Keep it as you can tell, my sister, she's cracking up.
I'm sorry, audience. This is what we have to deal with. Thank you so much, Father. We're just going to
I haven't finished.
pass the mic because we know that there is first of all, he's sideways. We do see that on the video. He's sideways. So, Father, if you would like to change your positioning, thank you so very much. Thank you for sharing that with everybody in the way that only Kenneth Herbert can do it. Grandmother, and you see the look on my grandmother's face. This is her firstborn. She's giving up, everybody. She just there's no hope. Yeah. Grandmother, would you like to share your take on Tamika prior to the diagnosis?
Yes, as Dad just said, you're very outgoing, outspoken, and you're just a lovable, likable person. To know you had to love you, understood her and her demeanor.
You had to understand. You hear what she said. You had to understand. Thank you, DJ.
Okay, like everybody else has said, you're very outgoing. You're a very strong-willed, a very strong-willed person. Um, when you get your mind set on something, you make your mind up to do it, you do it. And so when you left here going to Portland, um, I didn't. Well, myself and Thomas, my husband, who walked out, didn't have a. What we weren't fearful for you because we knew that you could handle your own. And you've been doing that for a long time. You know how to take care of business, know how to navigate through whatever you were going through, whether you shared it or not. You were able to do all of that. And so the concern, being concerned or being worried about you, way out in Portland, was not a real big concern, but we just still wanted to make sure we stayed connected, and we did that, and we're still doing
We definitely do. Thank you so much. You're getting all the aspects of my family right now. This is just the quirkiness, the craziness. For those of you who know me and why I act the way I act sometimes, you have already gotten that from my father. But we're going to transition a little bit here and actually get to the diagnosis. As I stated earlier, I was diagnosed on October the 31st, 2013. And my auntie Tanetta was the one that was cognizant of the entire process. Nobody was with me in the room when the doctor kind of confirmed it. Yeah, I was there by myself. My response to the doctor was like, "Okay, what's next? Let's get this party started. Let's keep it pushing." And she just was a little bit baffled, but that's just the kind of disposition and demeanor that I took, as my family has stated. So as we move on from that, after it is confirmed I have breast cancer, I called my auntie Tanetta to confirm that with her. Something that I have come to realize over this past 10 years is boundaries. And even though I didn't realize it back then, I had set up emotional boundaries for myself because I knew this was going to be a very difficult and a very challenging time to experience. And let's not talk about me being over 3,000 miles away from family. Nobody was in Portland, Oregon. Everybody was back in the South. So when I called my auntie Tanetta and let her know, I asked her to call my grandmother and my father to let them know because I was not going to be able to deal with whatever was going to be the response after that. So, Auntie Tanetta, can you kind of talk about that and what it is that you recall and what you remembered and what that process was like when you called your mother and your brother?
Okay, I'm gonna start off first when I talked to you about when you called me and we talked about it, and you expressed to me, how you did not want to have to call and talk to people and deal with the the sadness, the emotions that everybody would, be, given to you and stuff like that because you wasn't trying
Yes.
to receive all of that. And
Yes.
so I took on the responsibility of calling every individual, talk to mom first, and let her know what was going on with you. And of course, mom is an emotional person, and I said, but she's gonna be all right. We just trust in God. We just gonna go through we're gonna go through this with her. And then I think I talked to Michael, your daddy, um, and because he has had a journey with cancer, he was more. It was different. He wasn't like sad or whatever. He said the same thing I said. We're gonna pray. We're gonna pray, and we're gonna go through this with her. And so I think they were the first two people that I told, and then
Right.
the other siblings I did tell later on and stuff. If
Right.
everybody had that same take, um, nobody wasn't so emotional or whatever because I think having a togetherness like we do in a family net or whatever. Um, and we are a praying family. So I think that kind of helped uh, lessen the blow about what was going
Right.
on with you. But I think the biggest thing was for us is that you're all the way there. There's nobody there. But I thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to the doctors because when you went on your appointments,
Mm.
you would let me the doctors would tell me exactly what they're telling you and everything like that, so I think that kind of made your process of going through what you were going through a little bit easier and stuff.
Totally.
So and I would let the family know, but this is what the doctor said, this is what she's going through, this is what she's going to happen, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and so everybody stay connected that way. So
Totally. Well, I don't want to go too far ahead
okay.
too, because I know you're talking about when I started going to the doctor's appointments and surgeries and things of that nature. So, um, hone in right now, and thank you for sharing that. A couple of key things that you have said that's very pertinent, because the Tamika from 10 years ago is not the Tamika right now. That family was very good at praying. That wasn't me. Very different Tamika than I am now. So they were about that life. I wasn't necessarily on that ship. I was had my feet dangling in the water. So we're gonna keep it all the way 100. But grandmother, can you, and again, I don't know what your mindset was, grandmother, and I don't know what father's mindset was because we've not really actually sat down and talked about this. So can you share when Auntie Tanetta called and gave you that information? Can you share with everyone what you were thinking and what that process was for you?
Well, when she told me it was coming up on the Christmas holidays, and we were in New Jersey when she told me. And at first I thought, oh my God. And then right away it was quickening in my spirit that God heals cancer too. And those were my words to her, because like her, my biggest concern was you being so far away. And
Right.
at the time, I couldn't come right then, but I want
Right.
to be there with you. But I was kind of on another journey because I had gone to Maryland to spend time with my sister who was very ill. And so I was between Maryland for 3 months. I was between Maryland and New Jersey.
Right.
And and I went home around the middle of January. And I recall talking to you and asked you to keep me posted and let me know when the surgery was because I will be there.
Right. Right.
So,
And she was and has been. Thank you so much. Father, what was your reaction, your initial state when that information was shared that I was diagnosed with cancer?
Well, as your auntie had stated earlier, that the year before I was also diagnosed with cancer, and just like when the doctors told you, when he told me, matter of fact, I said the same thing that you said. So when we're going to do the surgery, the doctor looked at me and said, "I just told you you had cancer." My response to the doctor was, "Doctor, who gave you the ability to do what you do?" God. So if God gave you the ability to do what you do, guess what? God's going to heal this cancer. He's going to take care of this cancer. His
All
response to
right.
me was, in all the years that I've done medicine, and I've told a patient that they had cancer, you're the first one who ever responded like that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Doctor, God takes and he gives. He's taking this cancer out of me."
All right.
So that's what my response to you was, if I can recall, "Don't worry about it, baby. God's got it."
All
And
right.
look at us now.
And look at us now. And if you don't mind sharing, what type of cancer was that for you, Father?
I had prostate cancer,
Okay. Yes. So for
and that's
those of you
11
who
years.
11 years, there it is. And for those of you who don't know, breast cancer is linked to prostate cancer. For those in my audience who may not be cognizant of that, that is they are intertwined. So moving along in regards when it came to the surgeries and the chemotherapy and things of that nature. Now, I will say that it had been less than a year since I had relocated to Portland, Oregon, finding out that I was diagnosed with cancer. So that was very challenging. Not to mention that I was recovering from an automobile accident while I found out that I was diagnosed with cancer. So that in and of itself was very challenging. Could you share a little bit, grandmother, when you actually were here taking care of me for both of my surgeries? Is there anything hilarious you would like to share? If there's anything that was eye opening for you, what was that experience like while you were here aiding to care for me during that time?
well, on the first surgery, you had such a outgoing, joyful spirit, about you. Matter of fact, the
Keep it
morning,
real. Keep it real.
the morning of the surgery, you had the doctors, the nurses, all the technicians, everybody that had anything to do with the surgery. You had them in the operating room dancing.
And did. And did. Nobody was touching these. Well, the ones I had, nobody was touching anything.
No.
We were gonna have good positive energy in that room. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to make sure everybody was positive about what they were doing. You know.
And did.
And I
Mm.
admire that. I was really, you know, moved and touched by your spirit, knowing that you about to be under anesthesia and undergoing a knife, and you and you still was clowning and
They got both of my mountains off. They the
yes,
hilltops.
both
And
of
we gon' both of them.
them.
Not both. Both of them. Both of them. Yes.
Okay, don't you can't have one without the other.
One got to go, you got to go too.
Yeah, both of them had to go. You are absolutely right, DJ.
Because I'm not coming back, not for this again. This is gonna be it.
Listen, come on. Yeah, we're not going for another round. That is so true. So very true. So very true.
But you had
Yeah,
us.
my DJ was here for both of those surgeries. When I first had my double mastectomy in May 6th, and then in September later on that year, that's when I received my reconstructive surgery. What did you think about my doctors? What was that experience
Oh,
like meeting my
your
doctors?
doctors were, I can't describe them. They were just, I went back home telling everybody about how good your doctors were, what good doctors you had, and how
Yeah.
they, admired you with your positive attitude. And,
Mm,
it's just awesome.
yeah. That would be Dr. Storm and Dr. Gabriel. Hello, Storm.
Gabriel.
Hello, Gabriel. Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Uh-huh.
And Father, you came up here as well when I had my first surgery, the double mastectomy. What was that experience like in that time for you being here in the Pacific Northwest? I don't think you had ever been up here, or grandmother. What was that like for you, Father?
Well, when I got there, uh, just admiring the intestinal fortitude that you had, your spirit, the way you held yourself together during that difficult time in your life. And me personally, it was an eye opener because, like I said,
Mm,
the year before I had went through cancer, and I bounced back, and you were like so jovial. Your
mm.
attitude had never changed. It never did. It didn't waver. As a matter of fact, it got more intense.
Did and did.
and it, and it is continuing to get more intense, but
Mm,
on a different in a different spectrum now. Uh, I'm just overjoyed, blessed that God has taken you in a different and totally new direction, and has really
yeah,
changed your perspective on life. Uh, you're a
very
totally
much.
different woman. You're independent, strong-minded, but your perspective on life and totally changed. A 200-degree turnaround
Mm.
from the previous T Herd.
Come on now. Who y'all don't know. Look, I know about the old T Herb, but everybody don't really, really know about the real T Herb. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean,
you will. Stay tuned. Stay
I
tuned,
can
you
say
will.
I can say that the old T Herb. I mean, she and I, we would get out there and we was
That's right.
whoo.
Come on. See, yeah, he know. Because I used to go out to the club with my daddy, y'all. Me and my daddy used to go clubbing.
Yeah, we did it and we would shut it down.
That's a story for another day. We gonna keep it right. That's just hot. All
That
I can
we
do is
did.
shake my head. Sing, Grandma. Praise you.
we were we were party
Woo!
animals.
Listen, all right, Missy O, we giving you a shout out right now, Missy O. We giving you a shout out. But we gonna leave that for another episode. So yes, yeah. So I just wanted to bring you on so we can just talk a little bit about those things that we've never talked about. I've never heard your take and what your thoughts were and where your mind was and how you viewed all of that, right? So what I'm hearing from everybody is the distance. The distance was a thing. And I do recall you need to come back home to Florida from a couple of people. I ain't gonna say no names, Grandma, but you laughing kind of hard. You laughing a little bit hard.
I didn't say you need to come back home, but I did ask you, had you ever thought about coming back a little closer to home?
That when your grandmother asks you a question, that they're really telling you what needs to happen. She, she's,
I know.
you know.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that. It was an ask, but it wasn't really an ask.
It was a
It was
tale, axe tail. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but you just okay, grandmother. I know you were asking. We know you were asking for sure. So before we close up, the purpose of this, as you guys said, I am strong willed, and to some of that, to a degree, is at a fault. And a lot of those things are talked about in my book, Conquer the Fight of Life. Because even though this particular hardship was breast cancer, there are a plethora of hardships I have experienced in life. And there are a plethora of hardships that each one of you have experienced that's tuning in with us, as well as my grandmother, my father, and my auntie. All of us experience hardship. But I want this to be encouragement, right? Because I am here to serve. The life I live is not about me, but serving God's creation of people. So I am here as a servant. One of the things that I wanted to present, there may be someone right now that is experiencing a diagnosis of cancer, not just breast cancer, not just prostate cancer, but any cancer. And I know that the tools and guides in this book will help to bring verbiage and to bring light for some things that you're feeling on the inside that you can't quite explain, or that you may be thinking and you just can't quite put it into words for any hardship you may be experiencing. And before we close, I do want my grandmother, my father, as well as my auntie. Grandmother, there is another grandmother out there who's has a grandchild or who has a child that is experiencing the diagnosis of cancer or maybe any hardship but of cancer. What words of wisdom or advice would you share with that grandmother that is watching and that is listening to so that you may be able to serve her? What words of encouragement that do you have to give to her?
The same that I thought about you. God's got you. And I will even go as far to ask them about their relationship with God. And if they don't have a relationship with God, I would be giving them some advice to, you know, get in a Bible teaching organization. I won't say church because church is in us, but get into a
Well,
Bible teaching organization and get to know God, confess and believe, and get to know Him and get a relationship, an intimate relationship with Him. And He will do remarkable
come
wonders
on
in your
now.
life.
Y'all see how she done turned this into an evangelistic moment. Huh? That's them southern roots, them southern roots. Not roots, that's them southern roots. Grandma said, get to know the Lord. Amen. I ain't mad at you about that. So, and if you don't know, she might be here to be able to talk to you, other grandma. So just reach out to me. We'll get you connected with my grandmother. Auntie Tanada, what words would you have for another aunt or a loved one that's seeing their loved one experience and go through a cancer diagnosis? What are some practical tools that you can give from your medical expertise?
First of all, I would like to say that it's better to be a listener and not quick to uh, have an answer to a question. Just listen, because that's what most people need when they're going through any type of horrific diagnosis like cancer or heart disease or whatever. They just need someone to listen, someone to hear, and if they ask for your advice or suggestions, if you can give some clear advice to them, um, I would definitely do that. And like I said, if I don't have an answer, I know how to find the answer. I know how to direct you to someone that could possibly help you with that. And that we should just be encouragers to one another. And not talk about it. If someone talks to me in confidence, that's between me and that person. It's not between me and everybody else. You gave me permission to talk to the family. And so sometimes we have to wait for that, because everybody's not right there to and ready to talk about what is going on with them, because we're not all cut from the same material. And so I just think that, being a good listener, um, being a shoulder that someone can lean on, being that friend to that person, and in order to do that, we have to, if they confide in us, we have to keep it confidential until they release us to tell someone else and everything. So yeah.
You said something, and I'm gonna move on, but you said something that I've heard in these recent 10 years. I've heard it before, but it just rings differently. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Let's use it proportionately and accordingly. So that's the wisdom that I've just heard you say, to listen. Use those ears accordingly, because you got 2, and use that mouth less. Thank you so much for sharing those words of wisdom that you have. And Father, what words would you have to share to another father whose child may be experiencing a cancer diagnosis? What words of life and encouragement do you have for that father that's experiencing that?
Well, the words that I would relay to them is, first and foremost, trust in God. God has it all under control. As a father, be that support, that undying support that he or she needs. Give he or she comfort. Support them in everything. Never waver. Always be there for them. Continue to give them words of encouragement. Give them that shoulder to lean on. That, as you said earlier, those ears to listen. But first and foremost, let them know that God has everything under control. And in his word, he said he would never leave us nor forsake us.
All right. That's the
That he
word.
will do.
If you didn't already know, majority of people in my family, they believe in God. That is what we do. That is what we are. And that is okay. And it is okay if you don't share our same faith, if you don't share our same belief. We still agape you anyway, because that is what our Lord and our God has commissioned us to do. So with that being said, there's so much more that can be said, but that will be for other episodes. We've talked about emotional boundaries. They've shared words that of importance, that they have shared words that they deemed important to share with a mother, with a father, with a grandmother, with a auntie, anybody that's experiencing any type of hardship, right? And I would leave you, what words would I share as one who has experienced the cancer diagnosis to that person that is going through it right now? I see you, I hear you, I am you. I will let you know whatever emotion that you're going through, wherever you're at in the grieving process, that it is okay. I would say to you, as that woman, take that cape off and let someone else hold it. It is okay. I would say to that man, oh yeah, men get breast cancer too. They're called PECs. I would say to that man that it's okay. You have tear ducts for a reason. You have a voice for a reason. Yell, scream, cry, whatever it is you need to do, that it is okay. It's okay that you don't have all the answers. You can allow others in to aid and assist. That is going to be it for today. If you have not yet obtained your copy of Conquer the Fight of Light, you can go to my website, TamikaLHerberts.com, to obtain your copy. Make sure you do that before June 7th. Pre-sales with a purpose. What does that mean? In this book, I talk about a relationship that greatly impacted my life when I was first diagnosed. My mom died of cancer when I was 12 years old, and she was a mother of 3. Xenia transitioned as well as a mother of 2. Pre-sales with a purpose. 50% of the proceeds during pre-sales will benefit her children. That is something that weighed heavy on my heart. How can I do something for her as she did for me? So make sure you go to TamikaLHerberts.com to obtain your copy of Conquer the Fight of Life. Thank you for joining in with us. Until next time, all my conquerors, we'll see you then. Thank you, family, from joining me from Florida and Tennessee. Much love. I agape you.
Love
All
you.
right, conquerors.
You.
Much love.